Hey, you guys. How's everybody doing today? I am still not ready yet, but I figured we might as well just jump in here and I'll figure it out as we go, right? Uh, these names were supposed to be automatically copied over, but right now I'm having to manually select them all. Anyway, well, kind of. There's a spreadsheet, but it's all mixed up. Uh, anyway, ooh, why did that one go in there twice? Anyway, yeah. So today, the plan is to do a topographical map. Really, the key part there is to import the SVG, and then being able to kind of zoom in on the method that I've been doing it. Now, I think there's a few other websites out there to do topographical map SVGs. So if you guys have already done that before, if you could go ahead and drop the name of the website you guys have used in the past for a topographical map into the chat, and I'll see if that's the same one that I'm about to use here today. Let me drop most of these names into this. Ooh, if it works. Come on, paste the names. Oh, it's not liking it. Okay. Oh no, it grabbed all their photos. Oh, the fun times of trying to run a selection live. Oh, there we go. I did get them in here. All right. Ken, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I didn't actually make up all the rules, so I can't add more people to the list during this live stream. But uh, had you joined via Instagram, all those will be in here today. Can you guys hear me okay too? Sometimes I'm not sure if this mic picks everything up. Etsy. Oh, so you buy topographical maps off of Etsy. That works too, I guess. Well, sorry, Pete. Today's not going to be the best one, but we'll see how it goes. There's some stuff that's not quite completely set up, but yeah. All right. All right. So this is almost set up. Ooh. Double check the count of comments that we have here. And I made a list real quick of all the people that added it to their stories. There we go. They're already on there too. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to jump into that real quick, and let's just do this wheel spin now for the Sainsmart 3018 Prover for the St. Patrick's Day giveaway, which it's pretty neat that they reached out to me over on Instagram and provided one of these to give away today. Let me make sure that we're on the right screen there with the screen sharing. There we go. All right. So, where we go? All right, so over here we have the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 3018 Prover from Sainsmart that they've provided for us for this giveaway today. And we've compiled all of the names from the Instagram post and the sharing stories. And all we're going to do is click this spin, and that's going to select the winner for us. All right, so easy enough, simple. And today's winner is, it doesn't matter if you're in the live or not, it's still going to reach out to you and contact you over on Instagram for this. Aberdeen Creative. Now, we'll have to go through and verify that you met the criteria of following both myself and Sainsmart and like the post. But so far, we've got Aberdeen Creative as the winner. Let me copy that over into a message real fast so I don't forget that by the end of the stream. All right. And then from there, we can kind of get back into the tutorial part of this video. Not quite sure why I did that. Anyway. Just messing everything up today, right? That's okay. The chat's not working right either. It's stuck on my comment. Anyway, got that Aberdeen Creative's name recorded. I'll reach out to them later on. And we'll just jump right into this topographical map one. It's not really going to take all that long to go through. And then we got a lot more, comments and chat with you guys to discuss all that. South of Philadelphia. That's Philly. That's pretty. What's the temperature up there? Are you guys cold? It's about 85 in my shop right now. Ooh, I did lose the chat. Let's try this one more time. There we go. All right. Hey, yeah, Michael, it's been a while since I've talked to you as well, man. How's it going? What machine are you running now, Michael? I think you had a 3018 before, and then I want to say the Prover XL. Ooh, 58 in Austin. Yeah, it's mid 80s here in a little bit inland, Southern California. Let me get all these different screens together. All right, here we go. So there's quite a few different places that I've found to download topographical maps. And, this is just one of the many. But what I'm going to do here, this particular one, I've zoomed in on the Bay Area, just because that's where I used to live for a while. But what you do here is once loading the site, this is the main landing page for this Bunting Labs download topographical map. And this one's pretty easy to go to. All it takes is oops, not clicking that one, but you want a downloadable SVG topographical map. And then this is one of the top ones that shows up here. When you include the word SVG in downloadable, there's a few other ones over here as well, right? The 𝐭𝐫𝐤𝐤 ones, really, that's just SVGs that are pre-made, so you're not going to be able to zoom in or anything like that. And then the USGS ones, some of the sites on there do have the downloadable ones, and they are really good. But their website is really difficult to navigate to find the actual SVG to download. That's kind of why I chose this Bunny Labs one. It's a little bit easier. You can't type in any zip codes or anything like that, but you can just drag it around to find your area. And it's mostly United States. And then you just zoom in to that area and it updates this SVG over on the right. And that's actually just an SVG of the actual area. It does limit how far you can zoom in. And this right here that you see is unfortunately as far as it lets us zoom in. So from there, we just right click on it and download the image. I've already done that for roughly this area, the Bay Area. And then we can import that over an easel like this. Now, you could take this into Inkscape first and kind of crop it down quite a bit over there. You could kind of do the same thing in here as well. We kind of have to make a masking to go around it in order to do it within easel. And since there's so much going on here with the SVG and the live stream, it really kills the speed that easel runs for me. So I'm going to try and do this, but it might be so slow that we'll have to. Ooh. There we go. So I'm just going to pick a small mountain region over here and crop away everything else. And the only reason for this is that Bunting Labs one, which is really easy to navigate, doesn't allow you to zoom in far enough, as far as I'd like anyway. So I'm just going to kind of real quick create a masking to be able to cut away everything else besides this. Let's just do San Francisco. How's that? Which is up here in this area. So this is the part that I want to keep. I'm just going to drag it up there over the San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge a little bit, which if you're not familiar with this area, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, but it's right where I just dropped this rectangle square at, right? Yeah, Greg, which 4040 do you have from Fox Alien? I've got a couple of them now. I still need to finish some assembly videos on the Master Pro, but with time, right? With time. All right. So once this is kind of in place where I want it, I'm going to go ahead. Let me move it a little bit lower. I'm going to go ahead and make it a 0 depth piece here, and that's going to allow me to make my kind of negative masking around the rest. Hopefully this isn't lagging too much. So what I'm going to do here is move it from this up to a 0 depth right here. And you'll see what that does here in a second. There we go. So that's the part that we want to keep, and that's why we made it the 0 depth right there. The part we're going to get rid of, I'm just going to cover with another shape. And move this backwards one, which puts that white one right on top of it like that, right? And then I can select both of these. And because that 0 depth one is on top of this other depth shape, when I use the combine function, it's going to cut this away from it, leaving just that part. And then I'm basically going to just repeat that same step, set this main one to a 0 depth again, and cut that from all the rest. And it's just going to leave what's ever showing in this window. So it's kind of a way of using the masking effect to crop your images or design. And you just need to select all. You can either press Control A, drag over the whole thing, or edit and select all real fast. Just a few different ways to choose everything. And then I'm going to combine this, and that's going to do the same thing as before, where it erased the stuff that's covered up with the 0 depth item. So it's kind of like an eraser tool within easel. Ooh, I forgot about that one caveat there. Since these are all layered still, oh, it's not going to work right with this one. I might have to go grab that USGS one. Since these are all layered here, it wants to combine all these together too. So I have to repeat this function over and over again for every single one of these layers. Ooh, let me go grab that other one from the USGS, even though it's kind of a pain to navigate to. All right, let's go see if I can find it real fast. I don't think I have that other one bookmarked. So I've done this one here before using the larger zoom out and my laser, where it's a little bit easier to crop without doing this. So you could use Inkscape to do this. It's going to take a minute to load up, so I don't really want to do it that way. Where did the other one go? We might just do it. The USGS one, the easy way is to get a PNG of it and then drop that over in Inkscape and convert it real quick. Oh, there's the topographical map. All right. Why do they keep on doing it? Anyway. We will turn that off real quick. All right. All right, guys. Anyway, if you guys have any other questions about anything else, go ahead and let me know while I pull this up. It's going to take a second to pull up the other map because I had downloaded this one already, hoping that I could zoom in and do it the way that I can in Lightburn. Now, you know what? I guess I could pull up Lightburn, do it over there, and then copy it over. Michael, I don't have the 3018 Rover to demo today, but so what happened is Sainsmart reached out to me to do a giveaway with their 3018 Prover, but I have the original 3018 in my other shed, not out here in this garage. It doesn't fit anywhere, you know, along with a few other machines. Oh, this is kind of why I don't like the USGS one. I'm going to go through and select multiple areas in order to get that same San Francisco Bay that I had. Let's see if I can do it within about a minute or two. Otherwise, we might just change topic today and go do something else instead. Michael, I haven't heard much about that. I heard some rumors from some people, but I haven't seen any Lightburn put anything out themselves about that. Years ago, they posted into their own forum talking about incorporating CNC into Lightburn. And other than some rumors and that there's some footage about a promotional video that shows like 4 different methods of using Lightburn. And at the end, it shows that already exists, right? And at the end, it shows cutting out the main panel using a bit. So that is kind of alluding to maybe that Lightburn is working with CNCs at some point. But is that what they really meant? I don't know. All right, let's see if I can pull this up real quick. Oh, that's why it's not working there, because that's the ocean. All right. Yeah, Greg, how you doing the neon sign? For that, are you cutting a groove to put the LEDs in? That's what most people try to do, is cut a groove to put the LEDs in, right? Oh, now this one that I had saved is asking me to, there we go. PDF, sure, we'll save it as PDF. All right. You think they're going to do it, release it in a conference in October? Yeah, I mean that's what their little sizzle video was about, was the scheduling of that conference. But again, they didn't. It was like a 35-second long video, and it showed a CNC carving the main outside piece for like what, 3 seconds, and then it showed the end product with their like a main outside frame and the lasered stuff inside. So I don't know if they're just showing how you could incorporate these items together. I guess they could have cut that with a laser if they really wanted to. So maybe they are hinting at that. But I think that's a lot of reading into it for not much that I've seen anywhere else get publicized, right? I don't think this is the right website that I used before, because it's asking for my email address to email me this SVG file. But it says it sent it to me, so we'll try it. I mean, if it does work, I mean, Michael, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think we're gonna see much out of it, you know. I have a feeling it's gonna be like the 2.5D easel, maybe using an end mill only and no V bits, because that doing 3D is very complicated. Doing V bits does involve some angled plunging methods for the corners, and that complicates stuff significantly. I could see if they started working on it, those, what, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe they have some V-bit stuff if they bought source code from someone else who already developed it. Maybe. Ooh, and this map didn't pull topographical, did it? Shoot. It pulled a street map. That's what I was afraid of. All right. I'll have to figure that out for you guys and jump back on here later and just post a video later today showing the topographical map using the USGS one, or editing this one in the one I already pulled up in Inkscape to cut it properly. But yeah, let's pull up that. I'll pull up that video real quick from Lightburn. Yeah, you guys. Let me share this screen real quick. That one. All right. Yeah, so they did this announcement talking about their conference that he mentioned, right? Is that August? Yeah, October. October 27th, 29th. In Illinois. Is that where they're headquartered at? Because that's pretty close to where the guys over at Invitables are. So here, I'll just show it to you real quick. So they go through this whole spiel of cutting out stuff with the lasers. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe they could have cut out their mainframe using a laser too. So I guess maybe you guys are reading into it, right? That they do show the CNC here cutting at the end. That is their you know, hint into it's going to be able to do CNC work, right? And maybe that's what grow your skills is too, even, right? Is that grow your skills a reference to them growing the software to be able to use CNC? I'm not really sure, you know. If they were hinting at that, I would have kind of expected a little bit more than just this one. What is this? 4 seconds? 5, 6 seconds of their 36-second clip. So a whole fifth of it spent showing a CNC cutting stuff out, you know. So maybe you guys are onto something there with that one. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, the Facebook group stuff, Bo. I just really enjoy helping people in general, right? Sometimes I do these live streams because I don't really love the editing process of videos, and this kind of works a little bit faster for me. But I really do just like enjoy helping people succeed in general, right? Even my day-to-day job, um, that's pretty much what, in a nutshell, it's kind of what I do. Running a maintenance department that helps our operation team be able to do their job and get product out the door. Yeah, Michael, it could even be like an add-on function where for a certain price you add on the ability to use CNC or something like that. I don't know. Um, October, when did they do their annual changes? Because they did a price hike a while ago for Lightburn a couple years back, right? I wonder what time of year they did that. If this October 27th to 29th is maybe a month before their annual price hikes, or the ones they did in the past, right? So, Greg, you mentioned using flexible sheath LEDs to, let's see, is this working now? Let's see if the chat's going to pop up. Oh, it's not letting me re-click on a mesh that I clicked on in the past. Interesting. Interesting. Anyway, Greg mentioned that he's using flexible sheath LEDs to do an LED sign. And that, what software are you using, Greg? Because if you're using easel for that, that becomes a little bit tricky. You need the right. Oh, you think what? That's kind of what I was thinking too, Michael. Is that they do a price hike on November 1st, and it's just a couple days after their little release conference where they show everything off. So, Greg, we're going to transition here from the topographical map because I tried pulling up in USGS, and the one that it emailed to me from the site I had bookmarked, it wasn't the topographical map one. It was a street map, which is pretty neat if you're doing those, but that wasn't the plan for today. So we're just going to pivot real quick and do. We'll jump into Greg's issue and talk about the caveats of trying to use easel for the LED signage. And what I might do instead. Here, I'll pull up a, yeah. So if you are planning to like carve into it and inlay your LED strips into the carve like this, typically the way that I've seen it done in the past is using like a 1/4 inch bit because those LEDs are a 1/4 inch wide, and then just cutting a single line and then kind of sticking them into this groove. Now, the concern that I have with that is if you don't carve it all right, then one there's so let me step back here. There's some easier ways to do it per se that I think are gonna like be better off in the long run to do that sort of project. Also, the easel doesn't have built-in single line text. I guess I might as well open up Inkscape here and go through that and show you those. Yeah. So over here, so the way you could do it is bring in a single line text into easel, or even download one to your computer and be able to do that. And the way to do that within Inkscape, right? If you bring in a single line font that's already set up that way, that's going to work fine as long as it's actually a single line and not just a thin strip, because that's going to, again, cause problems once you go over to easel. However, in here, what we have is under the, where's it at? Text column here, we have Hershey text. And the Hershey text is going to allow you to select that pop-up came over there, a single line font, right? So we've got generate this font table. And when I click apply, we should get the single line fonts that this Hershey text kind of creates, basically. So you've got a bit wider one, right? That's 11 millimeters wide. So you can do the same thing as well. So for that, you might want to use a 1/2 inch bit, which is what, 12.5. So over here, we get this pop-up of our options for this extension to work. So you'd have to type in your text and then run it through over here, select it, and then run it through here, basically, right? After selecting which font face you want from these different ones here in this list. So the ones you see over here in this list for these examples are the same as the ones you see over here. And then if we zoom in a lot, I'm going to select one of these to kind of show you as I zoom into it. Now there are ways to add more to this. Actually, there we go. As I double click on it multiple times over and over again, it takes you to this part here where you can see the actual vector nodes. And you can see what happens here. So these are a single line font setup. This isn't a thick border of that, right? So if I take this, I'm just going to, for example, select one of these lines of text, save it, and go ahead and drop it over into easel for you. Now the thing is, the ones that are preloaded in here are not the prettiest fonts, which is why. So if you were going to do it with like a nice scripted looking font to do those signs, I would instead just cut out the border using easel and in the LED sign, and then possibly use a cheaper material and carve in where you want to put the text, and then stick the two pieces kind of together, and then allow you to adhere the LED strip onto the front of a flat sheet of acrylic. And what that does is it gives you a lot more room for imperfections without completely messing it up. Because if there's an issue with the way that you're sticking the neon LEDs into those slots, or the slot's not wide enough in certain places, or it gets super wide from the way that the font gets carved in, then it's not going to look good. Whereas if you just adhere it onto the front, as long as your adhesive is strong enough, some of them come with the 3M brand adhesive, and that's a lot stronger than the other off-branded ones. As long as your adhesive is strong enough to hold this on the front thoroughly, then you're good to go. Let me see if I can pull up an example of that. I know I've got one on my phone, but I'm not going to be able to pull it up right now. Maybe I could just show you on the camera. Hold on, let me get my phone real quick. It's right inside this. Ooh, where's that? All right. All right, we're back real quick. Here, let me pull this up and I'll show you on my phone really quickly which ones I'm talking about. You probably want the bigger camera, huh? There we go. So if you can kind of see this, it is ooh, that's quite the reflection, isn't it? It's basically just the LED neon adhered to the front of the sign. There's a different view of it. Maybe you can see that one. Oh no, that doesn't help at all. That one's way too bright. Oh, that is super blurry when I get in there close. Anyway, I guess I could post these videos or these pictures to the group later on. But they're just it's a neon strip that adheres to the front like that. Does that make sense? Yeah, I use 3M stuff all the time. Anyway, they make a lot of good different products, right? Especially adhesive. So that particular one that I have photos of that's in one of my friend's salons that I did a lot. I did every other sign in her salon besides that neon one because she ordered it off of like Etsy before before I told her that I could have made it for her. Anyway, so what they did there is they basically brought in their font. They did a they brought in like a regular font. They did an offset from it to do the border around the outside, and then after carving the border, the neon is just adhered to the front in the way that the script font is. So the way that I would do that is I would cut that font in like a cheap, let's say like cheap 1/4" MDF using the CNC, and just lay it on the back as a template to kind of align your lettering to as you lay it down. And the reason why I would do that is because it gives you a lot more forgiveness, right? So that 'cause I guess you'll see when you carve the slots. There's a one as you carve the slots, it's a lot more time during the CNC to screw it up, and that acrylic is not cheap. So having it on the CNC more to do that and potentially mess up the material altogether. Um, and also, if the groove is not the right size, it's going to look funky the way it sits in there. If as the lettering takes turns, the grooves have to account for the angle change of the lettering. Let me see if I can pull it up again real quick and show you. Actually, we'll just yeah, let's just text these or message these to myself real fast. Pull them up over here in there we go. All right. That way I can pull them on the screen a little bit easier. All right. Jump back over here real quick. Hopefully that's easier to see now. So we end up with this right here. They're just how do I explain it? Had you carve this, there's going to be certain aspects where it's not going to fit right, or you're going to really have to account for things like the turns of the LED, where you're limited by how much you can turn it, or else you're going to have to cut it and do a cut edge transition to the next piece. And that's going to be a little bit more complicated, right? So let me pull up a few more of these real quick. All right, so once that pops up there we go. I don't know, we're kind of winging it here today. That topographical map one was supposed to work out right, but I cut corners at the last night, and it was working over in the other software, but not so much 𝐭𝐫𝐤. All right, there we go. So here you can kind of see that it's really just laid on top. The grooves aren't cut here. So they basically brought it in, did an offset around the outside here, and carved out this shape. Let's see if I can go to the next one. No, it's not going to let me. I guess we're going to open these one at a time. So if I zoom in on this one here, you can see it's clearly just adhered to the front of the acrylic sheet. Right. So that makes it a lot more, this one uses like this really thick backing to it as well. It kind of stands it off like that. So I mean that whether or not yours has that might be the big difference here in how well it sticks too. And then as far as mounting, you can kind of see here they use these stud sort of things, which are called sign mounts, and it uses kind of like a standoff stud with a screw that goes through here, and then this little cover cap that sticks on the front, as far as the way that these are mounted to float off of the surface like that. There we go. Now it works. So hopefully that kind of explains the way that I would probably do it, especially if they use 1/4 inch thick acrylic here, and that gets pretty expensive pretty quick, right? This is probably, this sheet here is what, 70, 80 bucks worth of acrylic just for the sign in that 1/4 inch thickness size. So if you were to do this and cut out these slots, some of these turns wouldn't be right, even if we used this single line font here, right? Something like, why do you want to do this? This sans 1 right here, you can see that this is where you're going to have the best luck doing it, but it's like the weakest font that doesn't look nearly as nice as the other sign right now. I've got a million different windows open with these going on. Anyway, so I mean, if you wanted to do the slot, this is the easy way to do it. These Hershey fonts over here, you can bring in other fonts and then run them through the Hershey to kind of get the same aspect, the same idea of a single line. I don't think they come out that well doing the slots. So what I would do over in 𝐭𝐫𝐤, let's pull it up real fast, is you could use a custom font and get that effect. You could use one of these ones from in here as well, right? That has like a script look to it, not that one. Actually, let's go in here and add more fonts. And then select the sans fonts. Or I'm sorry, these have different names to them, right? Handwriting might be the one we want to go with. Cursive? Yeah, there we go. So you could bring in one of these, like the dancing script, or I think almost all these are installed on mine anyway. That's why I don't want to scroll through them all to find them. And some of these other ones here. Let's see if I can find a nice one. Let me know what font, if you already had a font chosen, which one you plan on using for it, right? Oh wow, I let the comments box get hidden behind stuff, and I guess you have been writing back and forth. Sorry about that. Let's jump over here real fast. What thickness of the neon? Like if the signs I showed you were really tall, I've got some stuff that's really just the top of that's really thin, and it works. But that tall stuff really does add like a layer of depth to it, right? Without having to carve that slot. It's probably more expensive, but yeah. Okay, so well, I'll just pick this Sophia one in here. Isn't too bad. I mean, if you guys have seen my other videos, I kind of prefer to use like defonts.com and then set up a different font over in Inkscape and do it that way. What was I said? Sophia. There we go. Stalemate looks nice too. So if you bring the font over here into easel, we can then, like I talked about, offsetting. We probably need to change our size here. I'm going to type in a random name, Greg, for example. Okay, yeah, you could inlay it into inlaying the acrylic into a board. That'd be pretty neat. Or you're talking about the LED itself instead of using the acrylic backing. That you could do that too. So I'm gonna go over here real quick and use the Offsetter app to kind of show you what I meant about doing that kind of border around the outside of the sign, like the example had there. So we go over here and take Offsetter, select the Lego apps, go into Offsetter V2, and you kind of give it a good outside border like this, right? And if we do keep original, well, I skipped a step. But anyway, if we do keep original, we're going to have that original back there behind us. Another trick here is we can lock it in place. And then I'll use this apps offsetter V2. I know I jumped through that a second ago. And then give it a nice thick offset to the outside, like maybe 0.6 inches. There we go. Then we can select all of it like this and use the combine function. And then set this to outside the path to kind of cut this out. And then the LED would be this name that's in the middle. So if we select the outside part here and doing a full cut through the material, whatever material you decide to use, whether it's, like I mentioned, 1/4 inch acrylic. Now I got to find that in my list here. Here we're going to cheat. I'm going to use 2-color acrylic to give it a better, different look to it, right? So what I would do is cut 2 of these out, one out of the acrylic and another one out of a super cheap material, whether it be thin plywood or thin MDF, and then just set them one on top of the other. And then as you adhere the LED on, you just kind of use the backing one with this cut into it as your template for doing it, right? And if you're able to charge somebody properly for it, I know you're doing it for yourself, but if you're able to charge somebody properly for it, then that more than makes up for that extra piece on the back, right? I'm going to cheat here and combine these together. I don't know if you guys know this, but I love combining stuff together for some reason. But what it does is it more corrects the boundary box around words. Oh, because that word was locked too, it's still just sitting there. I can never get rid of it unless I unlock it. There we go. We'll delete that one out. Yeah, I mean, you could kind of like you said, James, you could kind of manually tweak them over there, but I don't. I think that acrylic is too expensive to really do all that with, you know. So if you do the offset like this, you can see I've got the holes in here in the middle that you probably don't want to cut out. So we can use another app called the Exploder or Shape Exploder. One of these two will do the job. I always forget which one has a little bit. They're almost identical apps, but one is a little bit different than the other in the way that it explodes stuff apart. So here, that one didn't do what I wanted. So let me go ahead and grab the other one. The Shape Exploder. So that's what I end up doing all the time is I forget which one does what. You know, I've got too many things on my mind to memorize which tool does which thing, right? So here, by using that Shape Exploder, we've separated out these middle holes, and we can just select them and delete them away. And then select this outside one more time. Cut outside the path in order to cut this shape all the way out, right? So that just got rid of those extra little holes in there that were going to probably look really funny on the acrylic backing. Now we do have some pieces here that are going to cut and leave like little small slivers of material. So those look a little bit weird. And if they're not held in there with tabs, you'll have to deal with that too, right? So we come in here and select some of the nodes. Now, one thing to add in here, if easel would do so, is if I could drag to select these nodes instead of having to individually click them, that'd be pretty nice. Like if I was to edit this over in Inkscape, I can drag and select a group of nodes instead of having to click these and delete one at a time. So I'm going to go through here and delete a handful of these. So you could have done this as well instead of using that Shape Exploder method that I showed a second ago. If you come in here and delete some individual nodes, you could get to the same sort of end result, right? So maybe we do the same thing over here with this. Yeah, because that's going to cut it into little pieces and leave a problem there, right? So let's try clicking away real fast. What else you guys working on this weekend besides Greg's LED neon sign here? Which is probably not going to be this name at all, right? But anyway, you guys get to deal with what I chose today. We can actually hold down the delete button as well to delete all these out. And sometimes it's a little faster, but it'll continue going past what you intended on deleting on. Let's see how this goes real fast. All right, so that doesn't look too bad. You could leave this here with this big old loop or delete some of those out in there as well to join them, depending on how you might be worried about the acrylic breaking, having it be so thin up there in these different areas. As well as right here, you could join these together too. Let's yeah, we could do some stuff here to like cheat this to kind of join these together, like adding a shape in there and combining that together too. Some weird stuff. Anyway, yeah. Oh, your sign name will be Seth. Yeah, okay. I don't believe you, Greg, but I'd love to see it. That'll be a great sign. Yeah. What would be the point of deleting the notes? Yeah, so basically, kind of what I talked about a second ago was the thin areas where it was cutting away before, that would have left that little tiny piece of acrylic to like potentially pop up, get stuck in the bit, jam up the CNC and cause it to lose steps and completely waste your $80, $90 sheet of acrylic, right? So by deleting them, I got rid of those little small inside pieces that could have popped out if you didn't add tabs in there. So over here, or if you didn't hold it down with double-sided tape. So I'd probably cut this and use double-sided tape to hold it down instead of tabs, because sanding away the tabs at the end is going to kind of leave it looking different than the rest of the edge. The other thing is, if you have the ability to flame polish the edge over here when you cut it, that's going to make it look a lot more clear on the side, but I think that's usually not necessary. And the glow of having the opaque cut sides usually looks good as well, you know. So that's kind of the concern with this part in here as well, with this thin piece. If you cut this without some good double-sided tape in there or tabs to hold it, then even this little thin piece here could break and allow this to pop out and get stuck somewhere. So maybe you want to even delete that away. So I deleted the nodes, but there's another way of doing this too. And I'm going to do that here to cheat real quick, because there's a lot of nodes in here to delete. So again, masking and combining. So I'm just throwing this shape inside here, selecting that and the perimeter, and then combining again. Make sure we set this to cut outside the path. And then we've got this shape that it's going to cut. It doesn't look quite as flowing as I'd like, you know. So we'll go ahead and delete some of these nodes out and make it kind of flow down into that curve a little bit. And then we can, once I get these deleted out, I'll show you real fast. All right, zoom out for a second here. We can use this curved node effect. Right now it's defaulted to a straight node, but we'll select curved. And then by running this one over here, we can select the node on this side. Oops, didn't mean to delete that out. And in doing that, it's really lagging now that with the live stream and stuff going on. But anyway, you can use these curve nodes here to kind of give this more of a natural curve to it, right? And by selecting curve node like that, I'm gonna have to zoom in more because I can't click in the right spot. All right, there we go. The thing about vCarve Pro and even 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐤, how I did the combine function there and the way that you import SVGs and stuff, the only caveat that I don't really love about those softwares is the way that they handle vectors. And they'll give you they'll identify vector errors, and you'll have to fix them before you can really proceed. That's really the only negative that I have with those other software. So there, I've kind of added a little bit of curve to it without going too much in detail. I don't know if you could see how bad 𝐂𝐸 was lagging there. I'm using a lot of processor power on running the live stream all on one computer. But so that kind of got rid of the middle part there, so we're not worried about that falling away and getting stuck. I don't know that I love the look of it now. I kind of like the way it looked before, even if that means more double-sided tape to hold it in place or more tabs to hold it up. But yeah, you asked about whether 𝐵�carve Pro is worth it over Easel Pro. Again, 𝐵�carve Pro and 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker are like very neck and neck at almost the exact same features. The owners of both software used to work together and developed 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 together at a previous company before that company was sold. And then the software engineers went their own ways. And a few years later, one of the developers made or started on the Vectric project. And the other one went off to do his career, and years later came back to purchase the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 source code back. And then now we know it as what it is now as 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥. And that's kind of why they both are so similar, 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 and Vectric. So if you did want to kind of get a try for it, I've got a 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 trial link over on, it's usually in the description of this video actually. If you wanted to try that, the Vectric trial you can try as well, but it doesn't actually let you carve during the trial, whereas the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 one does. So that's kind of why I like that one a little bit more. They're nearly identical, except the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 one does use a little bit more British type of English terms in there. So some of the terminology is different. So rather than tabs, they're called bridges, and the bits kind of use a slightly different name, but they all have like images of the bits. So even though that's called, one of them's called, I think it's called a drill, it's actually an end mill. And tapered ball bit, instead of being called tapered ball bit, is called like a conical bit, right? Or radius conical bit, because the bottom is radius and it's a cone-shaped bit. So some of the terminology is a little bit different, but for $15 a month with 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker, that's kind of the way that I prefer, having a lower monthly fee instead of paying $700 or even $1,000 to get us, or what is Aspire now? $2,000 for Aspire, whereas 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker Plus has the same features as Aspire, but it's $50 a month. So I mean that's 40 months of 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker Plus before you reach the cost of Aspire. So that's what, a little bit, 3.5 years. So, and the thing too with the Vectric software is you get 12 months of upgrading. So it's basically 2 upgrades, and then you're stuck with that level. You can't upgrade again without paying the additional fee for the upgrade. It's not the entire price of the software, but that's just another fee that some people don't think about when they choose to purchase the Vectric software outright. The same thing with Lightburn, actually, in case you weren't aware of that. Lightburn is $60 for the current and a year's worth of updates to it. That current version and a year's worth of updates to it. And why am I doing stuff with my hand when you can't even see it? Anyway, I'm over here talking with my hands and you guys can't even see them. Anyway, but Lightburn does the same sort of thing where you get a year's worth of updates for it included with that purchase price, and then it's like a half price for the next year's worth of updates, or within a couple years, if you say, oh, I want to update now, it's been a couple years, you would have to pay for this Lightburn outright again to get the new version updates. So I think Lightburn is $60, but it's really $60 for a year's worth of updates, and then the next year would be $30 if you wanted to update. Now, if they're not adding too many features to it, you might choose to keep your current version. If they add more features to it, like CNC software or CNC carving capability, and you bought Lightburn a year and a half ago, you're not going to have access to it unless you either upgrade, or renew with that $30 fee in a certain amount of time, or you might have to buy it again outright for another $60 in order to get some of those features. And again, I totally understand why some people like Vectric, because Vectric is you're buying a perpetual license. You own it. You are stuck at that version, and that 1 year after version, and you can't continue to upgrade, but at least you own the software. Whereas 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker is subscription only. 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 Maker Plus, you can purchase it outright, but then it's the exact same price as Aspire, like $2,000. But if you get started using it with $15 a month, you might end up choosing to go the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚 route anyway. I don't know. I kind of suggest, if you think you're ready for that, trying out both trials. Although the Vectric one doesn't let you carve during the trial, it does let you navigate the software and that sort of stuff. Now, James is, who else? James and, oh, give me a second here. Oh, Timberfall. James and Timber Falls are both doing a bunch of 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 tutorials, so make sure you check out those two. I'm going to pull up links to their stuff and drop them in the comments too. Go ahead and kill this in case that video starts playing when it loads up. Anyway, so yeah, I'll be posting up another slightly raw video. I'll make sure to tag all you guys in it to, or we'll find a way to share it with you guys that makes a lot of sense for how to do the topographical maps the right way, rather than waiting to do it again next week with the right website's SVG file. Where are we at here? There we go, the comments. So James's YouTube channel, and then again, Timber Falls here has been doing some 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 videos recently as well. Did that just pull up? Did I don't know why I did that. Anyway, but yeah, so he's been doing some 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 tutorials as these different multi-part series, right? So check out his channel as well. He drops into my live stream from time to time too. We'll drop this over there. Oh, and in case you guys see this, I don't. Oh, did I? Anyway, yeah. Let's see if we can get this in here real quick. Timber Falls. Hopefully that link works, because it has his channel name here as @TimberFalls. So hopefully that link works. Let me know. But yeah, those two guys have been doing some 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 tutorials in addition to the ones that 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 puts on themselves officially, because they have one guy that does them over there, Layden, and he does some good videos, but he's only one guy. So the more people that are doing good tutorials on 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 really does help promote that. Like I mentioned, the 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥 source code was only recently bought back by one of those original designers about almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now. After the company that bought them out kind of let it go into disrepair, didn't do any updates on the software, and just kind of left it there, because they really bought the parent company for a different reason and got that software along with it. All right. So, did you guys have anything else you wanted to go over today? Because it looks like that was a major fail on the topographical one. We did the wheel spin here, and we have Aberdeen Creative that I'll reach out to in a little bit today to talk about. Make sure that they met all the criteria of everything else. Otherwise, I'll just have to respin this wheel. So actually, let's just do that now as a secondary precaution in case it in case there's an issue with that person not meeting the criteria. So as now this person is only going to be the winner if that other person didn't actually follow all the steps. So we've got Adams Construction as a potential winner if there was a problem with Aberdeen. So, oh, drinks with Cody. Drinks with Cody. Are you what you said? That's me. I'm guessing Aberdeen Creative is you, because the video feed is still lagging, so you didn't even see the new winner yet. So, so yeah, I guess this was a kind of a waste of time to respin it. Anyway, that was fun. You guys doing the LED sign thing. I think we'll have to go through the topographical map thing a little bit later today and put that video up over on the community tab of the YouTube channel. So that'll go out to anybody who's subscribed with notifications turned on, hopefully. If you guys, I mean, you guys are already here today, so it's probably going to go to you no matter what. the way that YouTube is working these days. It doesn't even matter if you subscribe or turn on notifications. As long as you stay active and watch videos on the channel or jump into live streams, it's still going to pop up on your homepage. So yeah, that's cool. Cody, I'll reach out to you a little bit later today on Instagram, and we'll go through everything with setting that up. And Sainsmart will take care of shipping it to you directly, because they didn't actually send it to me yet. They're going to go through all that stuff. That way you have their whole warranty and all that stuff with them, you know? Do you already have a CNC? Cody? There's kind of a delay here, so once I talk to you guys, it takes about 30 to 40 seconds for you guys to even have a chance to hear me or respond. Oh, you have an X-Carve. Well, what could you use the 3018? You know, if I see your name over on Facebook, I'll probably recognize you real quick, right, Cody? But anyway, you don't have to tell me on here. You don't have to put yourself out there like that. But because a lot of people use their personal name over on Facebook, so, and then other aliases across the web, or their business accounts, right? So, but yeah, you could use the 3018 potentially for other projects, I guess, right? It's not nearly as rigid as your strong and rigid as your X-Carve, but it could be made, like, you could easily modify it to make it a lot stronger and quite a capable little machine. My 3018, you know, it made me a little bit of money to convince me to go into investing in a larger machine, but it's a good entry-level machine too. And like I said, if you have friends as well who are looking at getting into it that are local there with you, it'd be pretty neat for you to let. There you see, look at that. I'm already. I don't know how much the delay is between the chat and what I'm saying, but I see your comment now about how you're actually going to give it to a friend. That's awesome, man. But the thing is, you're going to get stuck with having to teach them how to use it. So that's all right, though, right? They're not too difficult to grasp. The big difference is just the speeds on a 3018 are a little bit slower than an X-Carve. Anyway, I'm going to head out of here and go pick up my kid from school in the next couple of minutes. You guys have a great weekend. I'll stop in again, like I said, and finish that topographical map one. And we'll jump back in here with that. All right. So you guys, again, have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a very fun and profitable weekend with your CNCs. All right. Take care, you guys.